ultimate hobby. This is the building of the Starship Enterprise. Its continuing mission to create a beautiful centerpiece, to seek out new builders and young model makers, to boldly go where no model has gone before. Welcome everyone to another episode of the Model Frontier. If you're new to the channel, make sure you smash that subscribe button and ring that notification bell so that you don't miss a second of any of my great content. So this is an episode about finishings. Today we're going to finish the first half of the saucer section completely. We're going to finally put the bridge on it. We're going to close up the top. It's all going to get lit up. It's going to be quite a thing to see. We're also going to close up the nacelle finally. We've been working on, we just started working on adding some more parts to it. And now we're finally going to close the nacelle up and see what we can do there. So this is basically an episode of endings, but also new beginnings, because we're also going to start working on the underside of the saucer section. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get right into the video. Engage. Alright guys, buckle in because we're going to get started. So the first part of stage 55 obviously is we're working on the saucer section. We've got this piece to put in. And as you can tell, it's just going to kind of slip in right here. Then we're going to flip it over and hold it in place with 6 FM screws. Okay, that is it for that section. Next, we need to go grab, finally, our whole bridge module. This thing that we worked on way back in the beginning and got it all up to this point. It's finally time for us to attach it to the ship. So obviously, you know how this is going to go on. Make sure you feed your wires through, nothing pinching. You want them to go right in the middle section. You can always adjust where they go later. I'm going to put our bridge down here. Add a pinch there. Once you kind of get it into position, don't worry if it doesn't sit flush at this point, because it will go flush once we secure it down with our 14 BM screws. Now next we gotta remove 2 screws. Basically the screws holding this board down. These are FM screws, so make sure you put these off to the side somewhere. Because we gotta get under this board to put 8 more BM screws down in there. Now, this is probably easier if you don't have the wire tidy thing like I got going on. But since I do, if you've done it, well, we'll figure this out. Now that we got that on, we're going to put our PCB back into place. And this time it's going to get held down not just with 2 FM screws, but 4. So we'll start by putting the 2 we already had in there back. Okay, and once we got that, we're going to plug in the 2 wires that we got from the bridge. You should technically have 3, but we don't, because remember we did that one thing where we took the one off, so we took the one light out of this, so right now we don't have one there. So now it's just a matter of finding where to plug these ones into. And I'm going to do my wire tidy solution here. Now we got the wires plugged in and ready to be shrinked and tidied up. We can go on to the next step. Alright, so our next step... Okay, so our next step is we're going to finally be putting these into these sections here. Now these are directional. They will only fit into there one way, so test them out first. This part's the directional part. So now we gotta get our light bulb in. Now this is gonna be tricky because this light's shortened for some reason, but the light's gonna go in here. We're gonna put our sandwich piece in. Hold it down, and then you're going to secure it down with a pair of AP screws. And now that you got that end on, as you might figure, we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So, right in here. Again, your piece is directional. It can only fit in there one way. So, get your light. Sandwich it with your piece. Temporarily put down into place, and then secure it down with another pair of AP screws. And once you got that one in place, we're done for now with the saucer section, so we're going to put that off to the side and get the last little bit of this stage. So the last part of stage 55 is we got a battery pack to put together. Haven't done one of these for a long time, have we? No sirree. But it's just the same as always. We got a directional. We got a bolt that we got to drop into here. A pair of tweezers might help with this. And then once we got the bolt on, we're going to secure this back piece down here with a pair of our AP screws. And with that secured, we are finally done with stage 55. Alright, now stage 56 has us bringing back our saucer section. Why? Well, because the moment we've been wondering for a while is finally here. We are going to finish the phaser array thing that we started way back when. Now, the way they have you doing the instructions involves a lot of flipping back and forth and doing it, crazy. But we're going to do it a smart way. Now, the first thing you need to be aware of is they are all marked. Numbers are important. Like, this is U01, and it's going to go in here. And then we're just going to continue on. Through the whole thing. So 1, then 2, and 3, 4, and so on. Well, 3, because we already got these ones. So that'd be like 4, 5. Then we continue on with 6, 7, and 8. There we go. Now, rather than keep turning that over to, screw in one, turn it over, screw in another, turn it over, keep doing that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold it in place with a couple of pieces of masking tape per section. You can see I'm putting some tapes right on the seams, just because then you don't have to use as much tape on this. Now we got that on, we're going to flip it over, and then we're going to screw these all down with a total of 20 CP screws. So rather than subject you to that, I'm going to screw it in, cut away. I'm going to cut away to screw them all in, and I'll come back and show you the end results. Alright, now we got those all in place, and I secured down those wires that I had up there. I will do some more tidying this shortly, but now the last thing I want us to do in the saucer section involves down here again. So we're going to zoom in and take a look there. So we got a couple of formation lights we have to put into place. These are just push-to-fits. One end is thicker than the other, so they can only go in one way. I think I got my tape covering the hole, so I gotta lift my tape off of it. Alright, so now we got one formation light we can put in right here. The red one will go on this side. And it just clips in. There's nothing to glue on. It'll just clip into place. Yep. Then we go to the other side, we got the same thing, only it's a green formation light. It just clips into place. I believe it is. It is not directional. Or maybe it is. Yeah, it is directional because there is a thing in there that's got to be addressed with it. That's got to fit in there. But once those are in place, we are done with this saucer section for now. Let's take a look at how it looks, because that is halfway done with the saucer section. And there you go, your saucer section halfway done. So with that out of the way, we're going to go ahead and we're going to get the other piece that comes in here and do a little work on the under part of our nacelle finally. Okay, so to do this next stage, we are going to need our battery box and on the bottom of our nacelle. Now you've noticed I've got mine painted a reflective paint. That's to help with light diffusion. It's something I've seen will work to diffuse the light. It's not something you have to do, but it is something you can do. And it's really not that difficult. I used this acrylic paint, just brushed on nicely. Be aware of these holes, make sure you don't brush anything through them. Once you get that on and dried up, we can continue on. So you're going to take your battery box, we're going to get it into our position here, like that. And then that's going to get secured down with a pair of GM screws. Okay, now the next step is we got this power switch we got to put through here. And keep in mind that it is set to off, which should be the back. So when you look at it like this, this is the off position, that's the on position. It should be that facing that way. I'll make sure you take note of that. And then once you got that figured out, we're going to secure it down with a pair of DM screws. And with that, the bottom of our nacelle now has an on-off switch and a battery pack. And that is all there is to do in that stage. So stage 57 is going to see us continuing work on the nacelle. First we got this peg and spring we're going to put in like this. And then we're going to pop this into here. Peg's gonna pop in with the spring. This is where it'd be nice to have 3 sets of hands sometimes. Because you gotta get the peg exposed enough. So actually put the spring into where you'll be able to expose the bottom of the peg as well as the top. And then slide it into place. So it does, so you can do that. Might help to take your screwdriver and really push that down in there. You want it to be able to flex like that. And then they give us this little bracket here. We're going to put in place and hold on to there with a pair of AM screws. Alright, now we got that done. That's still going in and out just fine. So with that out of the way, now we gotta go grab our saucer section because we got more work to do on that. Now, the first thing we're gonna do with this section is we've got this double-sided wire. So obviously we got another PCB to work with. So we're gonna plug this wire into the port here. Now we've got our another PCB, which we are going to take. It's going to go in here. They want you to run this wire underneath it. And you have quite a few wires going underneath things here. It's going to be a tight squeeze, especially if you're doing your wire tidy thing, but this wire should be going underneath. And then naturally we're going to secure this down with 4 FM screws. Okay, and now we're going to plug, now this is going to get plugged in to this port here, obviously. Now, once you got that in, we've got a power switch. And we're going to plug it in to this port right here. It's labeled SW1. That's where they want you to plug this one into. So that's where we're going to plug it in. So once you got those all plugged in, if we flick our power switch, let there be lights. Let's turn this thing over and see how our saucer looks for the first time, completely halfway lit. Wonderful. Look at all that. Here, let me turn off the light so we can take a good look. Look at that beautiful saucer. And if you look up there, you see the lights for the impulse engines. Wonderful. Now our saucer has a power switch, and it's all lit up nice. But we're not done with this section yet, so now we're going to flip it back over and continue this stage. Okay, so now that we're done with the top part of our saucer section, now we're going to start working on the bottom or ventral plane of it. So how do we start this? Well, we're going to start the framework. Ooh, it's been a long time. It's been a while since we've had to mess with framework. But this first piece of framework, we're going to have this one. This screw hole is going to line up here. So this is where your wire management's really going to take a hit here. Because we're going to get these all put into here. This section, these two are going to... So you're going to have these two up here, these two down here, and then this one here, and that should line everything up. So I'm going to start in these two holes. We're going to put a pair of FM screws. So we're going to start down here with a pair of FM screws. And once we got those two in, we're going to put two more FM screws here. You notice I'm not going super tight on them because we're going to be moving these wires around a lot here. So, trying to make sure we don't have any we don't get anything pinched. Once you get those in place, we're going to get the remaining 8 holes filled with BM screws. And we do want to make sure we're keeping an eye on our power supply, make sure everything still lights up. Does good. So one piece of advice I'm going to give is, as you're doing your screws, be strategic and make sure 100% of the time you are not pinching any wires. So it might behoove you to start from this bottom section and work your way up. Because if you're going to pinch wires anywhere, it's going to be where you've got masses of them over here. Okay, we got that. No wires look pinched. Make sure everything still lights up. It does. So that is it for that first part of the frame. And that is it for stage 57. So stage 58 is going to get quite fiddly, but we're going to start off with some familiar ground. Getting back to our nacelle, and we've got another one of these to put in, obviously right in there. So we're just going to do the same thing we did the last time. We're going to put the spring in. We're going to put this piece down in here. Wishing we had another set of hands to do it with. We'll know we got it in when it does that. Just fine. Use my the butt of my tweezers to kind of make sure, give it a little extra push in. Then we're going to put our bracket on it and hold it down with 2 AM screws. Now that those are down nice and tight, make sure they're both still going in. That is it for the nacelle. Now for the fun part. Okay, so the first thing we gotta do isn't quite so bad. We've got a formation light here. They want us to feed through here. And plug it into this port right here. This might be a place where you want your tweezers. Might actually be easier for using tweezers here. Plug this in first. And feed this through. Come out here. And that's where we want that light. It's a formation light, so I'm assuming that means a blinker. Nope, it's just a solid. Nope, I might be wrong. Might have to go into one spot further in here. That is going to be finicky to get to. Hang on. Yeah, they want it into the second one here. Same basic thing. Plug it in and then run this out through the front. Alright, let's see if that's a blinker now. Nope, still a solid, so I guess it's supposed to be a solid one. Okay. Now that was the easy part. Okay, so this next part's going to be very fiddly. We've got 4 of these wires. They're all green and white. However, they are all different. There's 2 of one length and 2 of another. You can see one kind of goes on a lot longer. So the first ones we're going to want are the really long ones. So find your 2. So you're going to need to get your long ones first. I'm going to start with one here. And they're going to want you to plug this in here. And then they want you to snake it through all the way to the back, staying in front of all these. So you're going to have to kind of feed it through all your wire work. Tweezers will be your best friend here, I can guarantee you that. So feed it through however it makes sense to you. And then I'll meet you back here when we're done. Alright, once you get that done, it should be coming out of the back here. When you get to certain sections, just make sure you're going under the metal parts. You probably should be going under there the whole time, but I didn't on this one. So now you're going to get your second long one, which has a single end on it. It's got one single part. They want you to plug it into this section right here. And then just as you did before, you're going to run this just around and through. This part should be easy because this one you can actually go over these wires if you want. Alright, so that's two of our formation lights going in. You can see we got them kind of sticking out. So that's two of our formation lights in. You see we kind of got them sticking out along the back just like they should be. Now we take one of our little ones. We're going to plug it into this. So now we're taking one of our littler ones. It's going to plug into this port. Okay, and now they want us to feed it through, but we're only going to feed it through to this point here. Yeah, it's only going to get fed through to this point here. And they want you to come at it from this side. So they want you to go through this middle one here and go at it from that side. Now, as you probably guessed, our last of these new fiddly formation lights we're going to put into this spot. On the board. And we're going to run it through the same way until we get out over here. Alright, now we've got our formation lights in place and we're ready to continue on. So our next part is we've got another bit of frame to put in. This one's going to be a little bit on the trickier side. Yeah. Not really. If we did this one right. All right. So we've got this bit of frame that's got to go on right here. You got a space that you got to slide in. Somehow slide this into here. Or no, it just sort of sits in there. Okay, yeah, there's a spot. So this part here has to go under here. So I think I'm gonna have to loosen up that one just a little bit. Yep, because if we're looking at this, there is a little trough for this formation light in the front here to go through. Alright, so we got that loosened up a bit. And run this formation light through its little trough. Get this in here like that. I'm going to tighten these back down here. Now that'll hold it in place just like before. We're going to secure it here with FM screws, 4 FM screws, and then 8 BM screws. And there you go. With that piece on, the last thing you want to do is just make sure everything's plugged in the right way. You should have 4 blinking lights. Basically, those 4 lights should be blinking. And that light should be solid. And of course, all your other lights should still be on. And with that, that is it for this stage. And that is it for this shipment. So that is it for issue 15. Wow, we've gotten quite a bit done. It's amazing how great this thing's looking. Next issue is kind of a big one because it's going to mark the halfway point of this model being completely done. I know when we started this series off and when you started this thing, it felt like you'd never get to this point, but next issue we're going to be, so I've got something planned for that. We're going to take a look at all the stuff we've done so far at that point by the numbers. I'm going to give you all the numbers so you can see how much stuff you've gone through already to get to that point. So don't miss out on that. That's happening next time, though. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe, and I will see you next time on the Model Frontier.